Tim McGraw and Faith Hill together are beloved by country music lovers always. From the time they were the most well-known country pair in the 1990s and 2000s until now, their love story has moved fans all around. But a sad turn has lately changed everything. Tim is choosing the difficult path to leave Faith since she has been diagnosed with a horrible disease, emphasized to his wife as he prepares this sad farewell. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw had, before they rose to prominence in late 1990s and early 2000s country music, two singers named McGraw aimed to succeed in business. Let's examine their histories now. Tim McGraw, sometimes known as Samuel Timothy McGraw, was born in Delhi, Louisiana. Elizabeth Betty Ann D'Agostino, a Jacksonville waitress, had just one child. Florida and Frank Edwin Tug McGraw Jr., a pitcher most known from the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. Living in the same apartment building as Tug McGraw, who basketball player for the Jacksonville Suns, Betty, a high school student in Jacksonville. His parents' story began here. Betty fell pregnant with Tim in her teenage years. Her family shipped her to live with them in Louisiana. Close friends. McGraw believed as a young child that his actual father was Horace Smith, his stepfather under the last name Smith. McGraw discovered his birth certificate among his mother's wardrobe searching for a picture for a school project when he was 11. He then learned the truth regarding his actual father. That once he discovered, his mother arranged him with Tug McGraw for the first time. Tug disputed being Tim's father for 7 years, but Tim turned 18, and they made up and grew close once more. They stayed close till Tug passed away in 2004. Even before he knew about his father's baseball career, McGraw was quite fascinated in sports, particularly baseball. He used to play a lot when a child and joined the FFA in high school, learning. Following high school, he enrolled on a baseball scholarship at Northeast Louisiana University, primarily hoping to become a lawyer. He injured his knee in college, thus he was unable to resume professional sports. But this turn of events brought him music, which would transform his life. In ways he least expected, McGraw grabbed a guitar and began performing for money while still in college. Later on, he said his buddies would hide his guitar since he first performed so poorly. McGraw returned with his mother back to Jacksonville, Florida in 1987. He then attended the university. Jacksonville features a Florida community college. He improved with time and performed in neighborhood bands. McGraw left college and relocated to Nashville to try his hand as a country music singer on the day Keith Witt passed away in 1989, so altering his path in life. This significant event would enable McGraw rise to be among the most well-known and beloved country music performers. Curb Records heard Tim in 1990, launching his music career. He handed his dad, Tug McGraw, a copy after making a test single. Tug was riding with a friend who knew people at Curb Records when that friend heard the tape and advised Curb to contact the youthful musician. A few weeks later, McGraw was able to play the executives of the label from his tape, and they soon extended an offer for a recording contract. March 29, 1991 saw the release of his first song, What Room Was the Holiday In? Although it didn't make the Billboard Hot Country Songs list, the song had impact. Years later, in a retrospect, Nashville's WSM-FM program director said they included the song on the playlist of the station since it had undeniable promise. Another WXTU program director in Philadelphia said McGraw's first single wasn't very good, but he still contacted the young musician to the station considering the popularity of his father. April 1993, McGraw debuted Tim McGraw, his first record. The record failed at the stores. It was the only studio record the artist produced in his career, devoid of honors or ranking among the top country albums list. Though none of those three singles, which were Welcome to the Club, Memory Lane, and Two Step in Mind, made it on the top 40 on the country charts, the album performed poorly as well. Joe Diffie co-wrote Memory Lane and Tears in the Rain. Originally performed on Keith Palmer's 1991 Mark's first record. Not a moment too soon, McGraw's second record turned everything around. It shot to great popularity and became the top-selling country album of 1994. Some radio stations believe that playing the band's first song, Indian Outlaw, would be stereotyping Native Americans, thus they refused to do. This strangely increased people's curiosity in the song, which turned out to be McGraw's first hit. Top 10 hit in the United States S. On the country charts, it topped at number 8. It also placed 15th on the Billboard Hot 100. The second song on the album, Don't Take the Girl, became rather popular once it topped the U.S. We peaked on the country listings on the Billboard Hot 100 at number 17. McGraw became known as a tough but also sensitive artist thanks in part to this song. Following that, Down on the Farm made second, and early 1995's album's title song rose to be his second number 1 hit. The final song, Refried Dreams, landed at number 5 on the charts, selling more than 6 million copies. Not a Moment Too Soon ranked highest on the Billboard 200 and top country album lists. McGraw took home the Record of the Year and top new male vocalist honors from the Academy of Country Music in due course based on the record's performance. 1994, Billboard declared it to be the best country album of that year. From a newcomer to a major name in country music, this record made McGraw famous. Concurrent with this is what Faith Hill was performing. Early on in life, Faith Hill, Audrey Faith Perry, was born in Ridgeland, Mississippi, not far from Jackson. About 20 miles southeast of Jackson, Edna and Ted Perry reared their 2 biological boys in a small town called Star. They took in her from infancy. Having grown up in an environment that Hill was raised in a rather Christian environment and showed obvious early love of music. First publicly for the first time at Star Baptist Church, 3 years old. She was singing during a 4-H luncheon and other events by the time she was 7. Before Hill turned 9 years old, in 1976, she visited Elvis Presley at the Jackson State Fair Coliseum. She will never forget that moment since it inspired even more her desire to be on stage. She started the Steele Family, a gospel group performing at several local churches when a teen. At 17, she formed her own band and performed at rodeos and other local small events. 1986 saw Hill graduate from McLaurin Attendance Center. He briefly attended Hines Junior College, but soon left as she should pursue her dream of being a nation singer. At 19, Hill made the major decision to drop out of college and relocate to Nashville. She found it difficult initially in Nashville. She even tried out to be Reba McEntire's backup singer, but she wasn't hired. Sadder still, along with 6 other Reba band members, the singer hired to replace her perished in a plane crash in 1991, had a major impact on the scene of music. Hill supported herself by working several jobs over this period. One of these was at McDonald's, where she subsequently claimed to have hated her employment. She sold T-shirts and worked as a secretary in a music publishing company. She was singing during her break when someone at work heard. Impressed, her manager advised her to try demo vocals. This caused Hill to sing. Singing background vocals for singer Gary Burr at the Bluebird Cafe in Nashville, a venue known for launching fresh musicians into the public eye. One action was under progress. Martha Sharp of Warner Bros. Records, who incidentally were present. Harp began to sign Hill on a recording after finding great attraction in her voice. Consented to. In 1988, Hill tied the knot with music publisher Daniel Hill, but their marriage didn't last. Not long after her first record surfaced in 1994, they filed for divorce. For Hill, this was a turning point. At last, her talents were acknowledged. Strength, ability, and a consistent will drove Faith Hill from impoverished Mississippi to Nashville following her dream. That helped her to become among the most famous names in country music ultimately. 1993 saw Faith Hill release her first record, Take Me As I Am. Immediately created a big stir in the realm of country music. Rising to the top of the Billboard charts, the song Wild One generated explosive sales. 1994, Hill, she was the first female country artist in 30 years to hold the top spot on Billboard for 4 weeks running. For a novice, this is quite a feat. Hill started to shine when her cover of Piece of My Heart also ranked first on the country charts that same year. Based on Take Me As I Am, sold more than 3 million books with great sales and increasing number of fans. Along with the record's title track, singles like Take Me As I Am highlighted Hill's powerful vocals and clear on-stage presence. And this musical triumph would bring Faith to her future mate, the Lovebirds meet. 2 years following the great success of her first record, in 1996, Hill joined McGraw as the Spontaneous Combustion Tour's opening act. Having just broken up with someone, both were at turning points in their life. Not long after their meeting, they knew they bonded strongly. McGraw said, "We were young, silly, and completely in love," when he later reflected on their brief love affair on the road. Their relationship grew closer, and by October of that year, they were married. Entered marriage. McGraw recalls his very loving approach of asking her to wed him. On their 19th wedding anniversary, he shared this anecdote to the guests. Toured together, she asked him to wed her backstage on June 26, 1996. Hill laughed first, then bowed profoundly and asked, "Will you marry me? You want to get married while we're in a trailer at a country music festival?" She made a joke. McGraw persisted and went on stage to perform, leaving the question unresolved. After his set, he returned to his dressing room and found her answer. She wrote in Sharpie and lipstick on his cabinet mirror, "Yes, I'm headed to, I want to be your wife," with lipstick kisses all over. That one action sealed the deal and started one of the most beloved couples in country music. A surprise wedding. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw were among the first well-known people to get married without anyone else knowing. People close to the couple were invited. Everyone was startled when McGraw's hometown of Rayville, Louisiana, hosted what everyone had expected to be a laid-back get-together with a softball game and a performance turned sour. Hill wore a basic, slinky white dress and went barefoot to add her own laid-back style. She looked beautiful and was 3 months pregnant. Adding to her look were a classic pair of gloves from the 1990s and a small wedding under a big oak tree where she stood with a preacher getting ready to say her vows. After getting married, Tim McGraw and Faith Hill were delighted to have 3 strong girls named Gracie, Maggie, and Audrey. McGraw chose jeans and a black coat to keep true to his simple style. So personalities came through in this simple and sweet ceremony, which marked the beginning of a lifetime partnership in love and singing. McGraw struggled to take care of his family business and relationship with Hill since he was an alcoholic. According to him, Faith was the force driving him to transform his life and keeping him grounded. In a Frank podcast interview, he said, "Had I not married Faith at 29, I might have her unflinching support helped him put his health and happiness first, which was a turning point in his path to sobriety." Hill and McGraw continued to build their life together while touring as a couple several times. Boom. For Kreutzer. This shared experience held McGraw responsible even as he was busy on the road. Cheers to many more years. Their marriage seems to be based on being there for each other through difficult times and having a lot of love for each other. Although there may not be a single secret to their long-term happiness, it is clear that respect for each other and a dedication to family have been the most vital things in their relationship. For a couple that loves country music, but it appears that things may not be going as planned. Fans are concerned about Faith Hill's health and believe she may be experiencing neck issues once more, a concern shared since the 1990s. Back then, though it looked like she had totally recovered, stories have been circulating for years and new ones have made people question whether Hill is once more experiencing neck issues. An anterior cervical discectomy and union can help ease the pain of a bulging disc in the neck. This is powerfully reminded of by the difficult battle Chadwick Boseman battled cancer. He kept his illness a secret while he was sick, and the public only learned of it upon his death. If Hill deals with her health issues in private, just like everyone else, she may be able to heal faster. Giving her room to deal with any issues at her own pace by respecting her privacy, the Academy of Country Music and the Country Music Association both gave McGraw honors for the song. It was their first major success as a pair. Your Love, their first duet, was a huge hit right away and stayed at the top of the charts for 6 weeks. Hill has said, "This great connection has not only moved people, but also demonstrated how much Faith values her family and her work." Her singing of It's Your Love on stage with McGraw often feels so close that the outside world fades away, leaving them alone with this kiss, which not only topped the nation charts, but also made it to number 7 on the pop list. Faith had a whole new level. Record sold more than 6 million copies because fans loved it so much. Faith had a lot of hits on her album besides This Kiss, like her duet with building on this success. Hill released Breathe in November 1999. It went straight to #1 on the country and all genre Billboard charts, surpassing records by big names like Mariah Carey and Savage Garden. Breath had a polished sound that made Hill's singing range stand out. Tim McGraw, Just to Hear You Say That You Love Me, and hit songs like The Secret of Life and Let Me Let Go. Hill won 3 Grammys for this record, including Best Country Record and Best Country Female Vocal. Breathe, the album's title track, was a huge hit that got to #2 on the Billboard Hot 100. The Way You Love Me also made it to #6. Hill only started concentrating on love songs. Hill's reputation grew as she sang the national anthem at the Grammy Awards, the Academy Awards, and Super Bowl 34. That same year, she signed a contract with CoverGirl, appeared on numerous magazine covers, and even made Mr. Blackwell's list of the best-dressed celebrities, where she was the only singer among actors and other well-known personalities. Their first Soul II Soul tour began with their music and their approach to people all around the nation. Where Are You Christmas? Faith Hill performed for the Dr. Seuss film How the Grinch Stole Christmas in 2000. James Horner, Will Jennings, and Mariah Carey wrote the song. It performed well on the pop and country charts, but her popularity in both genres caused some, though she received negative press. Hill's commitment to her roots shone when she won the CMA Female Vocalist of the Year award. Some people in the country music scene felt Hill was straying from her roots and toward a more pop sound. Hill recorded There You'll Be for the Pearl Harbor soundtrack the next year. The song had been first offered to Celine Dion first. The song became one of Hill's most well-known, and its popularity led to the release of a record called There You'll Be, the best of Faith Hill for people all around the world. She was worried in her award speech about how much she loves the country music business.